From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, reaction trail emergence of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as PDP presidential ticket. Gunmen kill commissioner, abduct daughters in Nasarawa. EFCC arrests former governor of Zamfara State on suspicion of involvement in 80 billion naira fraud. Flight with 22 people on board missing in Nepal. Hello and welcome. Emergence of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as PDP presidential candidate is generating mixed reactions from political actors. Atiku beats 12 other contenders to emerge winner of the contest, where he polled 371 votes against that of Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, who scored 237 votes. Former Governor of Lagos State and a presidential aspirant on the platform of the All Progressive Congress (APC), Bola Tinubu, has congratulated former Vice President Atiku Abubakar on his victory at the presidential primary of the People's Democratic Party. Tinubu, in a statement on Sunday, said he believes Atiku will be a worthy opponent in the 2023 presidential election. In the same vein, former Governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, who was Atiku's running mate on the platform of the PDP in 2019, congratulated him, saying he wishes the blessings of God upon him. Meanwhile, less than 24 hours after the PDP primaries, Governor Nyesom Wike is yet to react to the outcome of the party's convention and is also yet to congratulate the party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, over his victory. Prior to the commencement of the primaries on Saturday, Wike was one of the leading contenders for PDP's presidential ticket and has pledged to work with whoever emerges as PDP's presidential candidate during the primaries. Now, earlier, Shafiu Suleiman reports that the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar picks People's Democratic Party PDP presidential ticket in a keenly contested primary held in Abuja, Nigeria's capital.
767 elected delegates from the 774 local government councils across the country were accredited to vote in the presidential ticket contest, with 13 candidates vying for the seat. 2 earlier withdrawn from the race, with the other, Aminu Tambol, stepping down for Atiku Abubakar minutes before the commencement of voting.
I have come to a patriotic conclusion to step down my aspiration, and not only that, but I appeal to my supporters to take this in good stride and in the hands of national unity, patriotism, and not only that, those who are delegates here should vote for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, Wazir Adamawa.
A distribution of the votes after sorting and counting shows that Atiku Abubakar got the highest votes cast with 371. While Governor Nyesom Wike closely follows with 237 votes. Former Senate President Bukola Saraki managed to garner 70 votes, ahead of Governor Udom Emmanuel with 38 votes. Others are Bauchi State Governor Bala Muhammad with 20 votes, and former Senate President Anyim Payazanyim with 14 votes, ahead of 2 other contestants with 1 vote each.
By the power vested on me as the Chief Returning Officer of the 2022 Presidential Electoral Committee, I, Senator David Adechenu Bonaventure Mark, GCON, hereby return Atiku Abubakar, having scored the highest number of valid votes during the presidential primary election held on Saturday, May the 28th, 2022, at the Velodrome Complex, Abuja, FCT, as the winner of the election. He is hereby returned elected.
Speaking shortly after emerging as the PDP presidential flag bearer, Atiku Abubakar described the exercise as one of the freest in the history of party primaries, promising to carry the losers along.
Today marks another milestone in the process to consolidate our democratic gains. And I therefore pledge that I will work to ensure I restore unity and I give a sense of belonging to all Nigerians, irrespective of their places of origin and irrespective of the faith they practice. I also committed that I was going to deal decisively with our security challenges in this country.
He pleaded with the aggrieved party members to return in the interest of the party. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Former Governor of Zamfara State, Senator Ahmed Yarima, has described the call for zoning of the presidency to a particular region of the country is as a result of political ignorance. The senator, who stated this during a chat with members of the press on his intention to contest for the APC ticket to run for president, also added that the ignorance was also as a result of illiteracy, which is rife in the country. Yarima further explained that the law clearly states the requirements of an individual contesting any office in the land.
Because you can find some people who are educated as ignorant because either they don't know themselves or they don't know their society. I think to just give you one example of ignorance that we are facing today, this issue of zoning, I know you'll ask a question about it. There are sections in the Constitution that shows the qualification required for anyone to aspire for any office, from a chairman of local government to state assembly, to governorship, to senators, national assembly members, to the president office of the president. You just have to be a Nigerian, and you have the basic qualification and the age required to contest for any office in this country. So I believe that it's ignorance, political ignorance, that people are all mischief makers. Because if you say, you start talking of zoning, zone to my zone, zone to northeast, zone to southeast. Tomorrow, people will start talking of zoning to local governments.
Abdul Karim Zawra, popularly known as AA Zawra, has emerged APC candidate for Kano Central Senatorial Zone. Zawra polled 758 votes to defeat Senator Bashir Lado, who polled 77 votes. Announcing the results, the chairman of the election committee, Tijani Yahya, said the process was free and fair. Senator Bashir Lado reportedly left the venue with his delegates before announcement of result. Meanwhile, a personal assistant to President Buhari on media, Bashir Ahmed, is accusing Governor Abdullahi Ganduje for working against his bid to secure ticket at the just concluded primary elections, during which he contested for the candidacy of House of Representative under Albasu Gaya Ajingi Federal Constituency. Bashir argued that there was no election in his constituency as thugs were allegedly used to disrupt the primary. Moving on, two political gladiators in Gombe State, Governor Inuwa Yahaya and Senator Danjuma Goje, have settled their political dispute which created division among members of the All Progressive Congress APC in the state. Senator Goje, who won APC ticket for the Gombe Central Senatorial District, said the reconciliation has come to stay. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
This is a historic moment for Governor Inuwa and his former boss, ex-Governor Danjuma Goje, as they come together after a dispute that lasted for almost a year. The political tension triggered resignation of Goje's daughter, who was appointed by Governor Yahya as Environment Commissioner, but Senator Goje said they have now reconciled.
I also wish to particularly thank the leadership of our great party, the national leadership of our great party, the APC, under His Excellency, distinguished Senator Abdullahi Adamu Durakin Kefi.
Governor Yahya said he is very excited to reconnect with his former boss.
Ranar farin ciki wannan tana ɗaya daga cikin ranakun da na fi farin ciki tun da Allah ya ɗora ni akan karagar mulki a jihar.
This is the most exciting day for me as the governor. In the past 3 days, no one think we will be together. Hypocrites have been fueling the crisis, but we thank Allah for making it possible to reconcile. For this reconciliation between Governor Yahya and Senator Goje, there were insinuations that Goje may defect to the People's Democratic Party (PDP), a report that he repeatedly denied. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Now, governorship primary election in the two major political parties has come and gone in Katsina State with the emergence of party flag bearers. But many residents expressed mixed feelings on how the process is monetized, leaving those without money to watch from the sidelines. For instance, aspirants had consultative meetings with delegates before the primaries, and monies were suspected to have been given in exchange for votes for candidates vying for elective positions. Abdullahi Yamadi has the details of this report.
At least delegates had a good moment with elective political office seekers, including serving lawmakers, after a very long time. During these meetings, delegates enjoy monetary inducement. The money in exchange for votes occasioned by the struggle to cross the hurdles of the primaries may not be new in the state. Political watchers say monetization of political process this term is so appealing during the last primary election in the state.
The way and the manner and the level money was used during the present political arena is very dangerous to the polity, to the leadership, and to the economic situation of the country. Because using money in politics is just a clear indication that the leaders are just buying delegates.
It is very, very unfortunate that these things is happening in this country. This is seriously a threat to democracy. This is seriously a threat to the emergence of a good leadership in both parties.
Observers said that the process should have allowed a level playing ground for all the aspirants, especially among the major political parties of APC and PDP.
So you see, the way and manner the form are being sold to aspirants, that show and door for corruption. Because if you win the election, the first thing you will do is to look for your money.
But beyond the issue of delegates, are the electorates happy with the process?
The politicians that uses money to achieve their aims. And this is it. And this is the problem that we are in Nigeria. It is because they want to perpetually be in power. That is why it's a system.
So far, APC have Dr. Dikko Umar Radda, the immediate past Director General, Small Medium Enterprises Development Agency's maiden, as its governorship candidate, while Senator Yakubu Lado Damarki emerged as the PDP governorship candidate. The two other political parties, NNPP and PRP, are yet to conduct primary election to produce candidates for the election. The electorate this time around want issues-based campaign instead of smear campaign to convince people to vote candidates of their choice. Abdullahi Ismail, Trust Television News, Katsina.
You're watching News Hour on Trust Television. Coming up, how family planning breaks home. Details of this story and more after the break. Do stay.
we bring you updates around politics.
People like you who are very young, you have no future. Anybody now who is 30 years, if what is happening to them continues, by the time you are 60, you will have no country.
The DPO of a particular unit does not have to wait until the commissioner tells him what to do within his jurisdiction.
We have political parties on the ground. Some of them have been there for years. But they themselves, in their own sober moments, they know that this country is not the one they're expecting to run.
Policy and governance.
Are you saying the NBS is lying?
I'm saying to you very clearly that the NBS has a serious problem with accurate data till today.
The 5th Assembly, as well as the 7th Assembly, their own attempt were unproductive.
Emergence of the Taliban has simply emboldened terror groups globally.
There's a lot of attention with regards to security developments in Nigeria.
On Daily Politics, we interrogate issues, holding the actors to account, bearing in mind all the sides.
We heard that in some places now, people have to go and pay tax, not to the local government, not to the state, but to criminals.
Nobody can come to your house and kidnap you without information.
If this country is bleeding, it is bleeding because we have failed to educate our young.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is News Hour on Trust Television, a recap of our top story. Reaction trail emergence of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar's PDP presidential ticket. Gunmen kill commissioner, abduct daughters in Nasarawa State. Moving on. 7 years ago, on May 29, 2015, President Muhammadu Buhari was sworn in to govern the country, which was regarded then as the largest economy in Africa. He was elected by Nigerians based on his promises to fix the economy, fight corruption, and secure the nation. Years down the line, Kehinde Amodu looks at how well he has kept these promises. His report.
I, Muhammadu Buhari.
President Buhari's most notable quote when he took the oath of office on May 29, 2015, was that he was for everybody and for nobody. It was supposed to portray the new president as an impartial person who would treat all Nigerians equally. Has he kept his word to be impartial?
In so many areas and so many spheres, appointments into positions of responsibility, positions of authority, and so forth and so on, are carried out without the federal character, adherence to federal character principle.
However, one thing Nigerians agree on, despite the statistics churned out by government, is that the economy has nosedived, as indicated by constantly spiraling inflation and ever-rising cost of living.
The exchange rate is getting worse every day. The dollar is now 607 to 608, from what he inherited as 198 to $1, and so it becomes very frightening as to where our economy is heading to.
It has also been hard to keep the promise to secure the nation.
The heat had become unbearable for them in the Northeast. Northeast terrorism had declined, acknowledged internationally by more than 90%. So it's not surprising that a few had splintered and had found their way into safer areas of the country. The thing to say is that the military, the defense establishment in the country is getting weapons. They have re-strategized. They have repositioned the troops and leaderships in some of these areas. And we're hoping that the results will begin to show in the coming days and weeks.
Apart from rhetorics, apart from some empty promises, meeting of service chiefs, who's the president, salutary moves and so on and so forth, we have not seen something decisive towards tackling this problem. So as far as I'm concerned, it is the will, the political will, that is simply not there.
But perhaps most vilified is the administration's fight against corruption, which sometimes looks lackluster and fraught with inconsistencies. And what is the logic behind pardoning ex-governors who had been tried and found guilty of corruption?
Government is supposed to fight against corruption, and then it is now setting those people who are high-profile personalities that have been convicted for corruption and is setting them free. It means that there is no genuine and sincere methods of fighting corruption. The actual idea of fighting corruption was only for the attention of the media and for the attention of the society, which has been done. A lot of media trials have gone, but the courts have not been able to convict most of those people who have been charged to court.
The moral, the tone has been changed. Even if we have not eliminated corruption 100%, it is unlikely that anybody can tell you that they have eliminated corruption by 100%. But the fact that there is a sense today in the country that there is right, there is wrong, and that corruption is wrong, it is not right, is an achievement, because in the past, people will not make any distinction between right and wrong.
However, a statement released on Saturday by the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, described those looking at the Buhari presidency from the angle of challenges alone as revisionists. Mr. Adesina also released a fact sheet indicating the administration's achievements in developing roads, bridges, rail, aviation, and seaports. The president's spokesman said a lot more would still be done in the last 12 months in the life of the administration. Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Elsewhere, delegates of the All Progressive Congress in Nasarawa South Senatorial District have affirmed Senator Umar Tanko Al-Makura as candidate in the 2023 election. Abubakar Abdullahi, who reports that the former Nasarawa State Governor emerged unopposed, said a senator and 3 incumbent House of Representative members in the state lost their bids to return to the Green Chamber. This report is presented from our studio.
The primary election for Nasarawa South Senatorial District, where the former state governor is hoping to return for a second term, was conducted through a voice vote and presided over by the returning officer to the zone's election committee chairman, Abdullahi Garba Abbas. Similarly, Senator representing Nasarawa North, Godia Akwashiki, lost his bid to return to the Senate, having been defeated by the former secretary of the National Judicial Service Commission, Danladi Mvulanza. On their part, the duo of Muhammad Al-Makura and Muhammad Al-Bashir defeated Abubakar Dahiru of Lafia Obi and Abdulmumini Ari of Nasarawa Toto federal constituencies to emerge the APC flag bearers of the 2 constituencies. The results were declared by the returning officers of the 2 constituencies.
I assure my people of this constituency, the state, and the country at large that I'll try my best to uphold this honor and trust given to me by being dispassionate, by being fair, by doing things that would add value and promote peace, stability, and the well-being of my constituency.
The winners speak on their victories and the plans they have for their constituents if eventually they win the general election. Meanwhile, the incumbent member representing Kefi, Karu, Kokona federal constituencies, Jonathan Gaza, and Ahmed Wadada, who contested the Nasarawa West senatorial seat, withdrew from the race over alleged tampering with the delegates list. Addressing the delegates shortly after the affirmation, Al-Makura pledged to ensure that the party grows from strength to strength.
Gunmen have killed a former commissioner of the National Population Commission (NPC) Zakari Umar Kibu in Nasarawa State and abducted 2 of his daughters. Daily Trust learned that the incident occurred in the early hours of Sunday at Umar Kibu's residence in Azuba Bashai, Lafia local government area of Nasarawa State. Confirming the incident, the Nasarawa Police Public Relations Officer, ASP Rahman Nansel, said the command got a distress call at 12:20 a.m. on Sunday. According to him, investigation is ongoing to ascertain the circumstances surrounding the incident. Nansel also confirmed that 2 of the deceased daughters were kidnapped. Until his murder, Umar Kibu was a lecturer at the Department of Mass Communication, LSA Mustafa Agwai Polytechnic in Lafia. He was the former NPC Federal Commissioner covering Nasarawa State. Now, in a bid to the Anti-Vandal Squad of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Rivers State Command has uncovered a residential building that doubled as a dump site for the storage of locally and illegal refined automotive gas oil. The discovery, according to the command, is part of activities geared towards checkmating the excesses of oil thieves and bunkers, as well as ensuring that critical national assets in the state are safe from economic saboteurs. The report.
Addressing newsmen at the scene of the crime, the Rivers State NSCDC Commandant Abu Tamwal, who was represented by the head of the Anti-Vandal Squad, Deputy Commandant Joachim Okafor, said the discovery followed sustained intelligence that a particular building along a notable university in Port Harcourt is being used as a loading point of illegally refined AGO. Okafor said the surveillance team of the Anti-Vandal Squad swung into action to effect the arrest of those carrying out the act, which amounts to economic sabotage.
I eventually ordered my men to advance into the compound and will later confirm that the compound is being used as a loading point of this illegally refined automotive gas oil, popularly known as AGO.
The Deputy Commandant said during the arrest, the team also identified a local jetty near the scene of the crime where illegally refined AGO is being loaded for onward transmission to would-be buyers.
A black Lexus 330 saloon car with number plate Bayasa GBB 52EA, a Toyota Avalon gold color with registration number Livers FH 730 PHC, laden with some cellophane bags of illegally refined AGO, a boat engine, and several bags of AGO stored in cellophane bags scattered within the premises, as you can see.
He said the command will approach the court with requisite jurisdiction to make necessary application for the forfeiture of the petroleum products, mode of conveyance, and the residential apartment, since it contravenes the provisions of the Miscellaneous Offences Act 2004 laws of the Federation.
Wanted drug kingpin behind the 2,000.6 kilogram cannabis sativa seized in a concrete mixer truck in Adamawa State in 2021. Henry Chukwenuku Okamaru has been arrested in Ondo State after 5 months of manhunt by operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. 2 suspects, Matthew Donwe and Friday Mbogu, were arrested in connection to the consignment last December. They had confessed that the concrete mix truck with Lagos registration number SMK890XB was loaded with the illicit drug in Ogbese, Ondo State, while they traveled for 2 months on the road before arriving in Adamawa, where they were eventually arrested by the NDLEA operatives. The report.
Investigations reveal that Okamaru is one of the leaders of a cannabis cultivation cartel that operates in the Ondo-Ekiti axis, while he shuttles between Osun, Ondo, Ekiti, Edo, and Delta states, from where he coordinates supplies of illicit consignment to northern parts of the country and Lagos State. Meanwhile, a 36-year-old Nigerian based in Italy, Nwakamma Michael Uche, has been arrested at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, for ingesting pellets of heroin. Nwakamma was nabbed while trying to board Air France airline en route Abuja-Paris-Milan, Italy. He was thereafter kept under observation, during which he excreted 95 pellets of the illicit drug. Across 5 states of Edo, Kaduna, Kogi, Akwa Ibom, and Oyo, NDLEA operatives intensify their offensive action against drug cartels. In Edo, Thaddeus Uliabafusi, aged 58, was arrested, while a total of 130,670 tablets of different controlled drugs, 1,396 ampoules of pentazocine injection, and 743 bottles of codeine were recovered from a secret location where the drugs are repackaged. In Akwa Ibom, a female drug dealer, Irene Emmanuel Basi, was arrested during a search of her house at Ikpa Town, Esit Eket local government area, where 30.5 kilograms of cannabis was recovered, while one Muhyiddin Razaki was nabbed with 90.8 kilograms cannabis at Elere Boluwaji area of Ibadan, Southeast local government area. While commending the officers and men of the agency for the series of arrests and seizures in the past week, Chairman, Chief Executive of NDLEA, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, retired, in a release by the Director, Media and Advocacy, Femi Babafemi, charged them and their compatriots across the country not to relent in their offensive action against drug cartels and their kingpins.
Tensions have risen in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, on Sunday as motorcycle riders, otherwise called Okada, have stormed a popular estate in the metropolis. Findings revealed that the mayhem started when a hit-and-run driver rammed into some Okada riders in Kabusa area of the city, killing 3 of them in the process. The driver, according to an eyewitness, ran into Global Estate located after Sunnyvale in Kabusa around Lokogoma, Abuja. The angry Okada riders were said to have chased the driver to the estate, setting the gatehouse on fire. As of the time of filing this report, security operatives were said to have been drafted to the estate to prevent further destruction. The Rivers State Police Command has confirmed that 31 people have reportedly died during a stampede at the Port Harcourt Polo Club while rushing to get giveaways from King's Assembly International Church's free shopping program. The program is aimed at helping the less privileged in the society. The report. The command, in a press statement through the public relations officer, said investigations conducted by the command have, however, revealed that the unfortunate incident occurred when management of King's Church Assembly organized a crusade that attracted a mammoth crowd. It further revealed that there were plans by the church management to give away food and gift items to the less privileged. Eyewitnesses said thousands of people gathered at the venue as early as 2 a.m. and were trying to force their way into the premises, resulting in a stampede and deaths.
People that were at the back were the ones that even causes this stampede. They now say, okay, the gate has opened, let me just run inside, So at that process of running inside the gate, that was when they started pressing on people. I said, came here to find to my small brother. When I said, come here, I saw some people start. They took me to hospital. They are looking for my rabbi that I look. I went there, I start everywhere, I don't see the gate. One of the King's Assembly invites us to come. Because last year we came, when we are many here, so I cannot able to carry three of them. So I raised one up, actually here. I raised one here. But this one, the place is very tiny. And I lose this one. The other one, they was pushing her because that one is 11 years old. They was pushing her. So I don't know where she is. I mentioned her name, Divine, I can't see. Nothing that happened, I just look at it as a kind of a hunger that's in the country. And even the COVID-19, I achieved some bags of food from his church.
The Commissioner of Police, CP Aboka Friday, while condemning the incident, directed the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of the State Criminal Investigations Department to carry out discreet investigation into the incident. He further called on religious and charity organizations to ensure they work with the police for security and crowd control management during their programs in the future to forestall such incidents. Couples in northern Nigeria often have disagreement over family planning or child spacing due to religious or cultural factors. Trust TV brings to the fore the story of a 29-year-old housewife who boycotted her matrimonial home after her husband suggested family planning for the family. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
Shamsiya Yunusa is 29, married to Aminu Salisu. They had 8 children, but 3 died. Aminu wants his wife to adopt family planning for the sake of her health and that of the children, but she declined. Shamsiya used to give birth every year, and her husband is worried.
I advised her. She even said that she didn't agree. I even go to her parents. She didn't accept it. I follow our traditional leaders how to advise her. She didn't accept it. That is where I started getting the problem with her. She even go back her whole house. She said that I didn't want her to born children, and I want maybe I will go and add another woman to get another children, but her I will leave her at home without getting children. That is how it starts. I try my possible best to tell her, because I convinced her a woman without education is just like a house without foundation. I say that if she allow herself sitting down at home, and when another woman come to the house that she's educated, she's going to take over the house. And you know, women didn't want to see second wife at home. That is why she's convinced, and she said that she agreed.
After boycotting her husband's home to protest against family planning, Shamsiya had finally accepted after a series of pleas by her husband.
So it's because I want to have more spacing for the child, for the birth. Yes, it helped me to take care of my children, and it helped me and my husband through our financial sources. So now we don't have, as I am doing planning, I don't have money problem.
The mother of 5 says after adopting family planning and subscribing to a 5-year child spacing procedure, she has witnessed improvement in her health and that of her last child, who now enjoys adequate attention. Shamsiya and her husband are now advocates of family planning in Gombe. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
You're still watching news on Trust Television. I'll see you on the other side of the break. Do stay.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is News Hour on Trust Television. Moving on, participants of a 3-day training for journalists on investigative reporting have assured of their commitment to utilize the knowledge acquired for a better reportage. The training, organized by the Daily Trust Foundation in collaboration with the MacArthur Foundation, is to equip broadcast journalists on the professional reporting and the need to imbibe the virtues of credibility and integrity. The report.
The training took place at the headquarters of the Media Trust Abuja, with participants drawn from various media organizations. Theophilus Abbas is the director, Daily Trust Foundation. He said, the training is aimed at building the capacity of the Nigerian journalists to carry out more compelling broadcast investigative stories.
We want Nigerian journalists to learn how to use the various approaches to that kind of investigation to expose wrongdoing. But we know that if a wrongdoing is broadcast on television, it will make a lot of impact. It will cause government to even take action.
The training is also to help build the confidence level of the journalists to communicate, take control of interviews, investigate and report issues of public and national interest.
This platform is, giving us that opportunity to be able to do better, to know better how best to approach issues, sensitive issues that requires investigation.
The foundation is expecting the trained journalists to hold powerful people, politicians, criminals, corporations and governments accountable for their actions and inactions.
I'll begin by thanking Daily Trust Foundation and MacArthur Foundation for putting resources together and bringing in the best out of the rest in terms of investigative journalism.
It's not just a refresher course. I have learned new things, especially in the area of using spy cameras and also creativity in documentary production.
Access to information has always been a big challenge for journalists in Nigeria, but with the skill acquired during this training, journalists will ensure that nobody is above the law. Nana Muhammad, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption has lambasted some highly placed Nigerians for procuring court orders stopping the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) and other law enforcement agencies from arresting and putting them to trial. Chairman of the committee, Professor Ite Sage, made this known while reacting to the rate at which Nigerians accused of economic and financial crimes refuse to honor invitations by EFCC and other constituted authorities to surrender themselves for interrogation for crimes they are suspected of having committed. Professor Sage, who said it is illegal to restrain anti-corruption and law enforcement agencies from arresting such suspects, regardless of their statuses in society, noting that such restraining orders amount to hindering agencies of government from carrying out their responsibilities, especially when such orders do not come from those covered by immunity conferred by Section 308 of the Constitution. He maintained that courts have, through several rulings stated at the highest levels, that no court in Nigeria has the power to restrain the police and other state agencies like the EFCC and the ICPC from carrying out their duties, noting that such actions constitute a charter for criminals to engage in nationwide impunity. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arrested former Governor Abdulaziz Yeri in connection with the agency's ongoing investigation of the suspended Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris. Yeri, a former governor of Zamfara State, was arrested on Sunday at his residence in Abuja days after he won the ruling APC ticket for Zamfara West senatorial election holding in 2023. The AGF under criminal investigation has been in the EFCC custody since May 16th, facing investigators over allegations of corruption to the tune of 80 billion naira. According to Premium Times, investigators are working with the lead that he allegedly conspired with others to steal public funds, which by his role he was meant to safeguard. According to the sources, suspicious transactions between Idris and Yeri were in the area of 20 billion naira. Now in business, the price of Nigeria's Bonny Light rose to $141.4 per barrel from $118 per barrel, recorded last Thursday in the global market, the highest in recent times. With this, there is a $79.4 per barrel over the nation's 62% per benchmark, which is also based on 1.8 million barrels per day, including condensate. The current market situation was attributed to a disruption in supply following moves to ban Russian oil by the European Union and increasing demand around the world. Meanwhile, the total amount disbursed under the Anchor Borrowers program of the CBN rose to 1.01 trillion as of the end of April. You're still watching News Hour on Trust Television. I'll see you in a moment.
Daily, we bring you updates around politics.
People like you who are very young, you have no future. Anybody now who is 30 years, if what is happening to the continues, by the time you are 60, you will have no country.
The DPO of a particular unit does not have to wait until the commissioner tells him what to do within his jurisdiction.
We have political parties on the ground. Some of them have been there for years. But they themselves, in their own sober moments, they know that this country is not the what they're expecting to run.
Policy and governance.
Are you saying the NBS is lying? I'm saying to you very clearly that the NBS has a serious problem with accurate data till today.
The 5th Assembly, as well as the 7th Assembly, their own attempt were unproductive.
Emergence of the Taliban has simply emboldened terror groups globally.
There is a lot of attention with regards to security developments in Nigeria.
On Daily Politics, we interrogate issues, holding the actors to account, bearing in mind all the sides.
We heard that in some places now, people have to go and pay tax, not to the local government, not to the state, but to criminals.
Nobody can come to your house and kidnap you without information.
If this country is bleeding, it is bleeding because we have failed to educate our young.
Welcome back. And on the foreign scene, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris has made an impassioned plea for a ban on assault weapons in the wake of 2 deadly mass shootings in the U.S. VP Kamala Harris, who attended the funeral of the Ruth Whitefield, 86, killed in a supermarket in Buffalo on 14th May. That shooting came just 10 days before an attack on a Texas primary school left 19 children and 2 teachers dead. Harris listed these and other attacks, said it was time to say enough is enough to gun violence. She added that the solution was clear and included things like background checks and an assault weapons ban. Several civilians have been killed by rebel fighters in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, according to the country's army and civil society groups. Spokesman for the DRC Army Anthony Moulache said more than a dozen people have been killed in Saturday's attack, while the Red Cross put the death toll at 24. The Allied Democratic Forces have been accused of killing thousands of civilians in DRC's troubled east. The massacre comes after almost a month of relative calm in Beni, where the Congolese and Ugandan armies have been conducting joint military operations against the ADF since late November. A small plane with 22 people on board flying on a popular tourist route is missing in Nepal's mountains on Sunday. Police official Ramesh Thapa on Sunday said the Twin Otter aircraft, which was on a 15-minute scheduled flight to the mountain town of Jumsun, took off from Pokhara, 200 kilometers east of Kathmandu. It lost contact with the airport tower shortly after takeoff and said a search was underway. Spokesperson at the Home Affairs Ministry, Phanindra Mani Pokharel, said 2 helicopters have been deployed for a search operation, but added that visibility was low. 6 foreigners were on board the plane, including 4 Indians and 2 Germans. And in sport, Nottingham Forest ended their 23 wait for Premier League football with a narrow win over Huddersfield Town in the Champions Playoff final at Wembley. Promotion back to the top flights caps a brilliant turnaround to their season, which had started with 6 defeats in 7. Forest held out in the face of mountains pressure to spark scenes of jubilation and end their 2-decade exile from the Premier League. Still in the Premier League, former interim manager Ralf Rangnick will not take up this year consultancy role at Manchester United. This 3-year-old German will instead concentrate on his new job in charge of Austria. Rangnick was appointed by United until the end of the season, taking over after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's sacking. Manchester United qualified for the Europa League by finishing 6th in the table. Now, before we go, from potteries produced thousands of years ago to a bowl worth several $1 million, Gaochun Porcelain Museum has collected porcelains all over China. Now join us to explore the art of clay.
Porcelain, a Chinese invention that has changed what we know and think of as art, a prized commodity that has witnessed the glory of Chinese trade along the Silk Road hundreds of thousands of years ago. On International Museum Day, we head to a porcelain museum in Nanjing, capital city of East China's Jiangsu province, to find out how this lump of clay is transformed into a cult item like this one, which has caused a sensation among the wealthy in Europe centuries ago. From potteries produced thousands of years ago to a bowl worth of several $100 million, the Gaochun Ceramics Museum has collected the porcelains of all sorts all over China. And to find out the power of museums and the power of porcelains, we invite expert Yang Zhen to join us. Yang Zhen, a young porcelain designer working in Gaochun Ceramics Company in Nanjing, is a frequent visitor to Gaochun Porcelain Museum, where her most satisfying work lies.
在2楼的话，有我们当代国瓷展，其中有一件就是我设计的，因为是“一带一路”峰会上用的，所以我们是结合丝绸之路的主题来展开的。最难的点就是在于我们该通过什么样的元素去表达我们中国的传统文化。
As white as jade, as azure as the sky, as bright as mirror, and as sweet-sounding as chime stone, the porcelain has long since been endowed with more aesthetic values other than its original practical values. To bring out better works, Yang has been trying to inject new ideas into her designing while retaining the traditional elements.
黄老师，你修坯啊？我们就是现在在很多宴会瓷的设计过程中，也会把它的底角加高，增强它的仪式感。但是机械化的，它总归好像看上去没有手工的来的这么精致。
这个不就比那个好控制一些是吧？没比如说这个。
他们的作品能表达他们自己的一个思想，我们的更多的是要符合客户的需求，以及怎么样把我们的文化加入进去。虽然我们两者有不同，但是我们对美的追求是一致的。我们同样是想要做出最经典的传世之作。
Well, there you go. Very interesting piece there about porcelain. Well, with that, we've come to the end of News Hour on Trust Television. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. From myself and the production team, do have a good night.